I'm a senior consultant with TRG Arts, coming to you live and early in the morning from Austin, Texas. I am joined by my co-host today, Mr. David Brownlee. David, you want to say hello?
Hello, everybody. I'm David Brownlee. I'm Director of International Strategy for TRG Arts, and I'm coming to you from a not too sunny Edinburgh.
Thank you all so much for taking some time to join us for the COVID-19 benchmark launch webinar. Right off the top here, I want to just say and send an enormous thanks to our partners and collaborators at Purple 7. There have been many people working hard behind the scenes to collect your data and start pulling this benchmark together incredibly quickly, to my colleagues at TRG Arts who have been working to put together the information for you and try to make these opportunities happen as quickly as possible. And of course, a final thanks to you all for participating and sharing your data and jumping in a spirit of community in this time, so that we may learn from each other in how best to thrive and to be resilient in spite of everything we're facing right now. So you can see that's us. Brad and David will be your guides and your hosts for this very first webinar for the COVID-19 benchmark. We imagine there will be more as we roll out more features, but we'll get into that later into the presentation. So without further ado, David, let's dive in here. And may I just start with a question? Why are we here? Not the big existential question, but why are we in this Zoom room right now? David, what is the point of all of this?
It's still a fairly big existential question. We're in unprecedented times. I think, Brad, you as a senior consultant at TRG will be telling organizations generally, go back, look at your data, look at the history, let's learn from that and let's respond to it in terms of making our decisions and seeing how we choose choices going forward. But we haven't got that luxury anymore, sadly. There's never been anything like the state that we're in now. And if we can't look back to history, the second best thing is to look to our peers and see how they're doing and see how we're comparing against them. And that's why, with our friends at Purple 7, we've come up with this benchmark. It should be really useful for individual organizations, and we are determined that it is, and we'll keep developing it to make it even more useful. It's also going to be really useful on a national basis in the UK in terms of tracking where we are, what the impact has been, and seeing where recovery is taking place. And there's already been lots of interest from both Arts Council England and the Department for Digital Culture, Media and Sport around what you guys are all helping us to do. And I think that the next level will be when we get the US benchmark going. We've got over 100 organizations signed up now already to this. So we'll be able to start comparing and contrasting what recovery looks like in the UK versus what's happening in North America as well. So lots and lots of different layers of why this is really, really important, and why I want to add my thanks to yours, Brad, around everybody who's been a pioneer in this in terms of leaping in and helping to make it happen and make it happen so quickly. We started with a base of about 150 organizations in the UK who were signed up with Purple 7. We've increased that by about 50 already, but we could increase it by lots more. It's, as you know, it's absolutely free. And the more organizations we can get on here, the better. So if you have friends, colleagues, and other organizations who you think might not be part of the benchmark yet, do please ask them. We'd love to have them join us.
Good. I see we've had a few more people just join us here at the very top. Let me take this quick moment to point out a couple of just mechanical things in our Zoom time together. First, we are recording this session, and we'll send you all a link afterwards that you can share with colleagues and coworkers who aren't able to join us this afternoon. And secondly, there's an opportunity for you all to get questions. And some of you are starting to figure that out already down at the bottom of your screen. You can send us a question. We'll do our best to answer as we go throughout the presentation. If we don't get to your question, then we're reserving some time here at the end where we can try to rapid fire through some of those questions. Okay, enough mechanics. Let's dive into how this works here, David. How who are we benchmarking against? Who is in the COVID-19 benchmark?
As I said, starting off with a base of 150, going up very swiftly to around about 200 organizations of quite broad different types. We've got some very, very big theatres. We've got some very small art centres. We've got some touring organisations. We've even got some ticket agents in there. And that means that if we look at the national benchmark, it gives us some interesting figures, but what it's not doing is comparing apples with apples. So what we've attempted to do is to take the whole basket of organisations and create 8 different pots, 8 different buckets based on what kind of organisation they are. And you can see them all sitting in front of you at the moment. In terms of defining those organisations, I have to confess that that's been me using the best of my knowledge and ability to try and come up with what I think will be the best bucket for your organisation. In some cases, I've got lots of knowledge. In other cases, I have very little. So apologies if I've got it wrong. It's very easy to change. So when you go in and see which bucket that we've placed you into, if you think one of these is more appropriate, just let us know and we will move you along.
David, as I look at some of these, I see one that says other. What does that one mean?
Other is collecting some very disparate and different organizations that I couldn't get to fit sensibly into anywhere else. So we have got some ticket agents in there, we've got some touring orchestras, and we've also got some festivals. Now, I'm really keen that if we can get some more festivals, that we pull out a different segment that is just festivals so they can compare and contrast against each other. So that's a really good example of if you can get some more of your colleagues to sign up to this, we will create a special festivals benchmark. For the moment, the others will be comparing against the entire benchmark though. So you're not comparing against other organizations that are completely different to you. It's against that big overall benchmark.
What if what if my organization has multiple performance spaces or multiple auditoria? If I have, different, a black box or a large presenting auditorium, how does that stack up or compare?
And that's going to be true for lots of people. Now, the way that it works is the feed comes in from the venue. So if you have a main house and a studio, it's all coming into the same place in terms of the data. So if you're a large producing house like that, you'll be in large producing house and your studio data will be considered as part of that as well. There's no way around that. Important to remember that if you're part of a group, the group feeds are taken at a venue level. So you will be able to report at your individual venue as opposed to the group as a whole.
Can I see who's in the data set so far, David? Can I see a list of organizations that are in these buckets or participating in the benchmark?
We haven't received or even asked for permission from organizations to publish the fact that they're part of this benchmark. So the answer to that is no. In the same way that we wouldn't give your organization's name out publicly, please don't ask us to share others.
Are there any limitations to people joining? I know you've invited other organizations to be a part of this, and we've got more room. Are there any limitations to it in terms of their CRM? Can we handle what CRMs can be imported, not imported?
CRMs that we can handle. Go in, get them to sign up on the form. If there's an issue, we'll come back to you. But for the vast majority of performing arts organisations in the UK, it's quick, it's easy, it's simple, and it's free.
Very good. All right. I'm ready to see the dashboard, David. I know the folks on our call are as well. Let's dive in.
Brad, you're going to have to wait 10 seconds before I unveil this.
Well, I've waited a few weeks to see it. I guess I can manage another 10 seconds, David, politely and calmly as I twiddle my thumbs and looking forward to seeing this. Just a reminder, folks on the call, as David is pulling that up, if you've got questions, you can post them by pressing the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. We'll do our best to answer them as we go, or if not, we'll get to them at the end.
And I shot past one thing before I do share the screen. Just some organizations will have a mixture of presenting and producing. a big presenting house that also has a large produced stage as well. Again, I may have put you in the wrong place, or you might want to be somewhere else. Just let us know, we'll move you. It's not a problem at all. Okay. I hope, Brad, you're seeing something that looks exciting and purple.
Yes, I do. How great. So what am I looking at here, David? What do I see?
First thing I'm going to alert you to is around the left-hand side, just to make sure that we've got things right for you. For a start, country, if it doesn't say United Kingdom, then something's gone wrong. Let us know about it. And then underneath that, we've got your category, which in this case of the organisation that Purple 7 have anonymously given to me to share with you, is a large presenting organisation. So this is one of those 8 different benchmarks. And the figures that you see here will be different compared to the overall benchmark and the other 7 benchmarks for different types of organizations.
And just out of curiosity, David, what data are we looking at now? Whose data is this? Is this an anonymous organization?
Anonymously.
Gotcha. Okay.
I do know that as a large presenting organization, it will be somebody who is principally presenting 1,000+ seats.
Great.
And what you're seeing, the first screen you go into is what's called the key metrics scheme, with your key metrics at the top of it. And you will notice that there are 9 boxes here, of which only 4 are filled at the moment, because there will be more key metrics added to this as we go. But we are launching with a couple of key metrics based on revenue and ticket sales. And those are split down, first of all, in the year to date, and then for the last 30 days on a rolling average. And we'll start first of all by focusing on the year-to-date figures. So this top left-hand box is saying that for this anonymous organization, what we're seeing is that that organization saw a pretty tragic fall of 23% in their revenue year-to-date for 2020. So since the beginning of 2020, since the last feed has come through, 23% down. Which is not great, but when you compare it to their peers have fallen by 27%, meaning that actually this organization is disproportionately performing better. And that's even more the case when you look at the volume of ticket sales. So revenue is box office income, ticket sales is the numbers of tickets sold. And this organization, again, a fall, 21% in tickets sold, but across the benchmark, an even bigger fall. 31%. So on ticket sales, there's a 10% difference. Now, there's various ways of getting into more detail on this, but possibly the easiest is just to click on this box here,